wonderful, brave, fabulous people who are up here on the stage running for office before, but let me tell you, a candidate term is for 2 years, or 4 years, or 6 years. A constitutional amendment is for generations. This amendment that we decide on is not going to decide what Kansas looks like in 2026, but in 2036, and 46, and 56, and 66, and beyond, and that is what makes it a hold my mule moment. So there's just a couple quick things that I want to talk to you about tonight on this amendment. I want to tell you a little bit about what it is and what it's not. I want to tell you a little bit about what the other side is saying, and I want to tell you a little bit about the truth about what this means. So, you've heard some of this before. Some of you are going to hear it again, but it is important because there is so much misinformation out there. We got to correct the record. So, the first thing that I want to talk about is what this amendment is really doing, what it really is. So first, let us know that in Kansas, we have a system at the Supreme Court that is designed to make sure that it is fair and impartial. We have a system that is the envy of the nation, because what it does is it combines the ability to vet candidates, to screen them so that they are folks who have experience, who know at least a little something about the law, someone who has a judicial temperament, someone who has loyalty to Kansas and the Constitution. Our system is designed to do all of that by having this impartial group of folks who vet candidates. They send 3 names to the governor, whoever that happens to be. The governor picks one of them, and then at the very next election, Kansans get to vote either to keep that justice or to fire them. We have had this system since 1958, and we have it for a reason. It did not emerge just out of the air, right? Like, it is not a naturally occurring phenomenon. We have this system because Kansas had a huge corruption scandal in the 1950s. Now, here in Kansas, we take great pride in having relatively clean politics. It's not like where my daddy is from, Louisiana, where they take pride in their corruption. It is perverse. They enjoy it. Here in Kansas, we pride ourselves on having clean politics with integrity. Ty Masterson's job at Wichita State University aside, we take great pride in our clean politics. And this particular scandal in the 1950s is the one glaring exception. Where there was a huge corruption scandal around the Supreme Court, and the voters instantly said they would not tolerate that again. And so they created this system that includes merit and vetting, and the people having a right to vote and to weigh in. That is the system we have. It has created a court that is fair and impartial. And we know that it is fair and impartial because it has ruled against everybody. It's ruled against Republicans, it's ruled against Democrats, it's ruled against every governor, every legislature. It has always put the guardrails on. It doesn't mean you have to agree with every decision they ever made. I certainly don't. I disagree with a lot of it. There are a couple of the members I personally don't care for. That is irrelevant. What they do is rule in a way that is fair and impartial and rooted in the Constitution and the laws. That's the system that we have now. And if that sounds pretty good to you, that's because it sounds pretty good to most Kansans, and it sounds pretty good to folks all over this country, because a bunch of other states adopted the same system after we did. But if it sounds pretty good to you, you must not serve in the Kansas State Legislature. Because the Kansas State Legislature, a supermajority of them, not all of them, most of the folks who voted against it are in the room tonight, so the supermajority who brought it to us, they decided that we needed to have a different system. And the first clue that you should vote no on this thing is the fact that it was given to us by the state legislature. In general, at least for a while here, anytime they send us an amendment, you just automatically know, vote no, vote no, just vote no. But what they decided is that we should get rid of that merit-based system that is the envy of the nation, and instead, we should have a system of direct, partisan, statewide elections for state Supreme Court justices. They decided that they took a good look at the state of Wisconsin, which recently had a single state Supreme Court race that cost $1 $800 million. And they said, that sounds great. Let's do that here. They said, let's turn judges into politicians. That sounds great. And most of all, they said, we don't want merits, we don't want experience, we don't want loyalty to the Constitution. What we want is someone who will be bought and paid for by billionaire political donors. Now, I don't know about you. Maybe you feel different. But I, for one, am tired of billionaires trying to buy every bloomin' thing in America. I would like there to be at least one thing in this whole wide country that billionaire political donors can't buy, and I would like for that to be the Kansas Supreme Court. So when they tell you to vote yes on this thing, what they are really saying is that billionaire political donors should be able to buy our judges. They should be turned into bought and paid for politicians. What they're really telling you is they want the billionaires to be able to guarantee their outcomes ahead of time. They don't want the law. They don't want the Constitution. They want whatever Elon Musk says. And I don't know about you, but I have quite had enough of Mr. Musk. He showed up in Wisconsin a lot. I don't particularly want to see him here. So that's what this amendment is really about. It is about fair and impartial courts. It is about billionaire political donors turning our judges into politicians. And when that is what is on the ballot, I say, hold my mule. So the second thing I want to talk about tonight is just a little bit about what the folks on the other side are saying. I should say a little bit about what the folks on the other side are lying. That would be the more accurate statement. I'm not going to go through them all because I suspect some of you have plans for Christmas dinner and I want to make sure you get there. Because there's a lot. There's a lot. If you pay attention to what the folks on the side trying to force feed this to you say, you'll hear a lot of misinformation. If you listen to what the chief architect of this amendment, a fellow named Chris Kubic, says, I need you to be a little more enthusiastic with that. When I say Chris Kubic's name, I expect a reaction. If you listen to what Mr. Kubic says, and I don't know why you would unless he's announcing his resignation, if you listen to what he says, this amendment is about the right to vote. Let us pause a moment to reflect on the fact that Chris Kubic, who never met a ballot he thought should be honored in his life, says that this is about the right to vote. Now, I'm a person of faith, but I have to tell you, my faith is being sorely tempted by the fact that he is not struck by lightning every time he says this. Because the idea that Chris Kubic and the folks in the legislature who have spent the last 10 years trying to do everything they can to stop people from voting in every single way have suddenly discovered the right to vote, I don't believe it. Do you believe it? No, of course not. It's nonsense. It's nonsense. It's not about the right to vote. We already have the right to vote for Supreme Court justices in Kansas. We get to vote to keep them or fire them every couple of years as it is. And anytime the folks who are saying that tell you it's about the right to vote, just give them a look. Just give them a look. Because it's nonsense. They also like to say that it's all about secrecy, that this the process that we have is done in secret, it's closed doors, it's elite, ooga booga booga boo. I don't know how much more elite you can get than a billionaire political donor, but they say that it all happens in secret. Well, I would like to introduce them to a little thing called YouTube. because the entire process is recorded, is live streamed, it's got its own YouTube channel. The whole commission, every piece of it happens in public. The applications are public, the interviews are public, the discussion is public, the decision is public, the vote is public. Every bit of it is public. It's not in secret if it's on YouTube. So let's dispense with that nonsense. And then, they love to say that this is something that we had for 100 years, the system that we had before. Well, first of all, we changed it for a reason, again, because of that corruption scandal that I mentioned. But also, I think that there are a lot of things from the year 1861 that belong in the year 1861. There are a lot of things in the year 1861 that don't belong in any year, much less today. And so, the fact that we had this system in 1861, I don't find particularly relevant to today's world. In 1861, there were neither billionaire political donors nor television ads that they could buy. And so, it doesn't seem super relevant to me that this is the system that we had in the year 1861. I know that Mr. Kubic and several members of the legislature would love to go back in time to 1861 or 1661 or perhaps just the year 61 period. But I, for one, am interested in moving forward, not retreating into the past. And so, I don't find that argument particularly convincing. And then the last little bit of misleading that I want to mention is that they love to say that the court has been overruled a bunch. They love to say that they love to throw out a statistic. It sounds like a high statistic. Sometimes they say 85, sometimes they say 90. I guess they round up, I don't know. Of the court's decisions have been overruled by the U.S. Supreme Court. What they don't tell you, though, is that they're talking about 8 cases out of the literally thousands of cases that the Kansas Supreme Court has taken during the same period. 8 cases out of literally thousands of cases that the court has taken up. And so they love to say that as though it says anything at all. I don't think 8 instances out of thousands tell you anything at all. But they love to spread it around because it makes it sound like it's something that it's not. It is a trick. In the same way that the whole amendment is a trick. It is a trick because they wrote it with the most confusing language they could imagine, step 1. Step 2, they put it on a low turnout August primary on purpose, right? That was on purpose. I don't know what y'all are doing in August, but most folks are thinking about getting the kids back to school or just paying the AC bill. Billionaire political donors have time to think about political plots while lounging on their yachts, but the rest of us have work to do at that time. And so there are a lot of folks who are not engaged in August. They put it on the August ballot for a reason. That was step 2. And then step 3 is to spread all of this misleading information that they can. That is why it is a trick. The whole thing is a trick. And so when you tell me that, when you tell me a bunch of lies, when you try and trick me, when you put it on a low turnout ballot, all of that says to me that I better hold my mule. So the third thing that I want to do, there's a reason for it. I described to you the system that we have, a merit-based system that rewards experience and knowledge of the law. And I told you that it's about billionaire political donors wanting to take control. That sounds like a self-evidently bad thing. I don't understand why someone would sign up to give away our power and our control and to give it to billionaire political donors instead. That doesn't sound right to me. So the question is, why? Why would you do that? Well, you don't have to look very far for the answer. Because at least when he's not on television, when he's just in groups like this one, Chris Kubic tells the truth. And he says there that it is about, quote, slowly and quietly overturning reproductive rights. He says that this amendment is, quote, changes everything about reproductive rights, about public school funding, about everything that the court has weighed in on. And so the answer to why you would hand over control of the court to billionaire political donors is that you don't like the outcomes that they're handing down. They don't like that the court has ruled against governors of both parties. They don't like that the court has been fair and impartial. And most of all, they don't like that the court has protected our rights. They don't like that the court is the one that ruled in favor of a right to abortion access in the state of Kansas. And they really, 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 really don't like that you, the voters, affirmed that right in 22. They just can't stand. They cannot abide the fact that the voters of Kansas won't go along with their extremist agenda and what the billionaire political donors want. They cannot stand that more than 15 years ago, the state Supreme Court ruled that public school funding was a thing that had to happen in the state. Y'all remember a fella named Sam Brownback? Name sound familiar to anybody? Right? He went on this experiment to devastate the state finances and public schools, and the state Supreme Court was the one that told him no, he couldn't do that. And rather than accepting that ruling as being fair and impartial and rooted in the Constitution, Chris Kubic and the billionaire political donors are still mad about that from 15 years ago. They are mad that the state Supreme Court is going to consider things on voting rights, on LGBTQ plus equality, on immigrants' rights, on transparency, on accountability, on health care, on workers' rights, on consumer protections. They are mad that the court is going to rule on all of those things, and they don't know what the outcome is going to be ahead of time. They are mad that they cannot guarantee that we will go back in time the way they want us to. Now, they are mad about this, and so they want to completely overhaul the system instead. I remember when I was 4 years old, that same grandmother who told me the story about the mule, she and I played a game of chutes and ladders, and I lost. And when I did, I turned over the table and scattered the pieces everywhere, and she told me, Micah, that is not what adults do. Most of us learn about that time that in the adult world, sometimes you don't always get your way. Sometimes people disagree. Sometimes you come back and make a new argument, you try again, you try and persuade. What you don't do is overturn the table and blow the place up. Chris Kubic does not have the emotional maturity of the 4-year-old at Chutes and Ladders. And so what this amendment is really about is making sure that there can be a statewide ban on abortion, that they can undo education funding, that they can deny consumer protections, that they can deny voting rights, that they can deny human dignity to LGBTQ plus people, that they can give ICE free reign, that they can make sure that we go back in time and that everyday Kansans don't stand a fighting chance against the elites and the billionaire political donors. This is about whether Kansas is going to continue to be a beautiful but imperfect place, or whether we are going to undo all of the progress of the last 70 years. They have a different vision for Kansas. They don't like that you don't like it, They don't like that the voters won't accept it, and they don't like that the state Supreme Court has been the one to guarantee a fair and impartial system. Rather than continuing to tolerate that, they say, let's hand over the job to the billionaire political donors. Let them choose who our state Supreme Court justices are. Let them choose what the Constitution says. Let them choose what everyday Kansans want. I don't know about you, but I don't think my interests align with coastal billionaires.